Enjoy all episodes of the RCWR Show on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio.
Covering the latest in entertainment and beyond since 2011, you're listening to the RCWR Show. And now your host, as featured on Wrestling Inc. and TNA Insider, Lee Sanders.
At every good man's side, there is a strong woman. And that's exactly what our guest was to the 5-time WWF champion and WWE Hall of Famer, Bret Hitman Hart, for 20 years. And Bret Hart, of course, no doubt one of the greatest technical wrestlers to ever lace up a pair of boots. She celebrated with Bret and the legendary Hart family in his greatest triumphs, both in and outside the ring, and also his darkest moments. If you're a longtime wrestling fan, then you know that some of those darkest moments played out during the Hitman Wrestling with Shadows documentary, came out around 96, and it was pretty much there where many of us first came to get to know Mrs. Bret Hart. She has a new book that's titled Hart Strings, which chronicles with great insight her personal journey through difficult upbringings growing up to finding her Romeo in the Hitman, to their time together, being part of the legendary professional wrestling family, the Harts. And it's with that honor we welcome to the show today, one and only Julie Hart. Julie, how you doing today?
Oh, thanks, Lee. Oh, that's such a lovely thing that you said. I'm doing good. Yeah.
Well, that's good. Yeah, that's good. How's your weekend going off so far?
So far, so good. Got over Blade's birthday party yesterday and cooked for a bunch of young fellows, and they ate all that up, and yeah, so it's pretty good.
23, right?
Yes, yeah, Blade's 20, the legend.
He's probably got that extra swagger going on now. He's 23. Yeah, he's seen the whole world, right?
Oh, he has. Yeah, he thinks so.
That's awesome. And when was his birthday? Yesterday?
No, it was June 5th, but
June 5th.
Everyone had to work. Yeah, so it was celebrated yesterday.
You celebrated yesterday. Okay, well, happy belated birthday to Blade if he's going to be checking this out later. And, I definitely am honored that you're on the show today. It definitely means a lot. And I just have to also say congrats on the book, which is available at Barnes & Noble, Amazon, also tightropebooks.com. Anywhere else it's available, or those are the main ones?
Those are the main ones for now. Yeah.
Okay.
So ordering online, and they should be in the bookstores soon, I think July, for some stores other than Barnes & Noble. In the States.
In the States. Okay, awesome,
yeah.
Awesome. And this is a true fun fact, and I didn't know this until co-producer Tammy brought this up, but apparently this is the first interview that you're doing since the book's release. Am I understanding that right?
Yes, I know. And, I was just thinking to myself, oh, my God, I actually am nervous. Because I told her yesterday that I was going to be nervous. Nah, I do these things all the time. And then now when it's actually here, I'm thinking oh my God, there's going to be so many questions, and get a little bit of the jitters, please.
That is. Yeah. Trust me, I get nervous every time I come on the air because I realize after the show is over, oh my God, that many people had tuned in, and I usually just try to block it out. That way, I just kind of like right now with the fumbling. So it happens.
Yeah. I think I'm on the East Coast.
Yeah, it happens, yeah. Well, tell me, and tell the folks, what had led you to your decision in wanting to write this book? Was this something that you were sitting on for a while now? How did it come about?
Well, it's been 10 years, really. Off and on, I pick it up and start writing it and then put it down, and I had my sister help me write it, Michelle, and then because she's a teacher, so it just got too much for her, and it got very emotional because we were combining our stories together originally, because my sister was married to Dynamite Kid, right? Mm-hmm. So we thought, that'd be great, do these two stories together, and And then it just got so emotional, and like my stuff and her stuff, and then with school and everything. So we kind of put it down again. And then, I don't know, about a year or so ago, a friend of mine who's a journalist, he tweeted me, and he's like, "Hey, what's going on with your book?" And I'm like, "There is no book." I go, "I don't want to do it anymore." It's like, I just don't know where I want to go with it anymore, because it had changed so many times, right? And then he sort of coaxed it out of me, and here we are. After 10, 11 years, I guess it's been,
Wow. Worth the wait. Worth the wait, though, because, like I said, I was reading this, and I got through 3/4 of it, and I can definitely admit that this book, as soon as you open it, what just really lured me in with opening arms was just that opening line there. Paul J., are you looking forward to the day that Bret hangs up his boots? Your reply, I've been waiting since the day he was 25. It's been 18 years now, and I'm sure it's always going to be the same, Paul, but you've had enough. Your reply, yes, I have. I think it's time to be normal. And that's from the film Wrestling with Shadows. That just right there, it just reels you in. And, other than work and doing the shows, that was pretty much the only time, I put the book down, but it's definitely a intriguing journey into what all you had dealt with growing up and leading into your relationship with Bret and all. And one thing I had noticed as I was reading your book is that you have found yourself to be in a position, it seemed like, of wanting some type of normalcy as your mom and dad had separated, and your mom's new man, your stepdad, I think his name was Herb. He didn't seem too keen on you, and your feelings to him was mutual. It kind of just, the way you were describing that, it kind of seemed like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie This Boy's Life, starring Robert De Niro and Leonardo DiCaprio. It just came off of just like that. Is that really the image? Is that matching it up right to how it was in that household?
Oh, absolutely. And then with my dad, too, had remarried the same sort of person. Like, it got physical, like, at one point. I think I was, 16 years old, and it got really physical with her. Like, I think I cracked her dentures or something, like I was always fighting somebody. Nothing was ever normal. I'd still think my life's not really normal to this day. I'm still waiting for things to really settle down, and I think maybe after all the book is finished and the touring and maybe I'll be able to be a normal person,
Yeah, or maybe you're already normal. You just don't realize it yet. It happens.
Yeah. Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think, it's just the things around me aren't normal. Perhaps.
Yeah. But then the question could be asked, well, what exactly is normal nowadays,
Yeah, no kidding. Reality.
Yeah, seriously. I think so many people can relate to that upbringing that you had, though, especially many of our younger listeners. They should definitely be able to relate to that, as this is something that's common in every single household all across this land. You have mom and dad, they aren't really getting along. They decide they want to separate, see other people, remarry, and sometimes the kid finds themselves to be in that rough spot of not being accepted into that new person's family, And I'm curious, leading into your relationship with Bret and afterwards, do you think it's those elements that you kind of took with you that kind of made you want to make sure that this was definitely a path that you didn't go down and for the sake of your future kids?
Well, the thing is, I never wanted to get married, ever, because of my childhood. In my head, it was like, I don't want to have kids that will end up like me. And then when I had met Bret, it was like, you know, Bret came from a really good family. There was like 12 of them, and, you know, I had all these great things about what a real family is, you know. And, oh, no, that'll never happen with us. And, you know, it took me a while because I had always, like, I came into that relationship with abandonment issues and, you know, quite a bit of baggage. You know, and Bret did put up with a lot of stuff, and, you know, and then I think I would overcompensate because of my childhood. Like, I was very overprotective and, you know, things like that. Bret and I think I can honestly say that we would never fight in front of our kids, except the one little episode. You know, but we're human, right? You know, people fight, couples fight. And I think when I had talked to Bret about writing that one part in the book, he was furious with me, and that was like 4 years ago, I think. No, you can't put that in there, and it's like, well, it happens. Couples fight. You know, you're just a little bigger than me. You know, and I was pretty feisty too. You know, I wouldn't go down. I mean, I did go down, but you know, I tried to fight back too. But you know, it was really important for us to, you know, not do things that had happened to us as kids. Of course, my childhood was pretty bad. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, you know, my kids could honestly say today, like, they never saw their parents fighting, you know.
And that's something to be proud of, yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah, it's never right to, I've always believed it's never right to fight in front of the kids, because that has a profound impact on them growing up. And, yeah, you know, I mean, in my household at least, you know, when my mom and dad, you know, they needed to throw it down, they gave me some cartoon to look at and cranked up the volume, and they just went in the bedroom and they just did their thing. And next thing you know, they come out, "What are you up to, Slugger?" And it's like, you know. But I knew better. I knew what was going on, you know.
Yeah.
And, I'm curious, you know, in retrospect, because I've always wanted to ask this question, and I think you're the perfect person to ask this question to, which is, what do you think, just looking back over it all, what do you think is the hardest parts about being a wife of a wrestler?
Being alone. You know, Bret missing things with the kids that were really important to them, but understandable. You know, of course he had to work, and for us to live in the house that we lived in and have the perks that we had, there had to be sacrifice. You know. But I think that was probably the hardest, was being alone, and the more popular he became, it was longer and longer being away from us, you know. And then, of course, other things that had happened and you worry about, which did happen, you know. Do I need to say what happened? No.
Well, it's up to you. I mean, anything goes, Harry. Anything goes.
No, I'm just saying, like, you know, he's written about it, like what happened to him on the road and the affairs and stuff, you know. I mean, you can't blame all that on me. Those are choices that you made, you know. But I think as a woman, you know, and he was a very handsome man, of course. There's temptation, you know. But why couldn't it be a bottle? No.
You know,
no, I'm not promoting that.
Well, no, I mean, no, let's be for real, because, I mean, it's so easy for that hardcore wrestling fan, because they're able to kick back and they can watch stars like Bret on TV at that time weekly and see him at whatever event. And, you know, unfortunately, you're in that position where, you know, you kind of have the TV and, you know, the phone call for, you know, those few precious minutes before, you know, I would assume you have to get some rest and go to the next city or what have you. And yeah, I would think that it would be, tempting. There's temptations out there, and I kind of noticed early on there. It kind of seemed like one thing that jumped out at me was the filming of Sinbad, and he asked you to come on out there, and you are just pinpointing all your destinations, where you want to go. You want to impress him, and let him know, look, honey, I've done my research. We're gonna have some fun, and for him to just kind of, just be passé with you like that, I can't help but kind of look at that moment. And then, of course, he was looking at the woman there. I guess she was sunbathing. That kind of took you off there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I couldn't help but connect that to when you and he had first started off in your relationship, and you were talking about how he, I can't remember the other people, but y'all had went to a brothel house or whatever, and y'all were in a car, and the woman was rubbing up on his leg, and you had took offense to that. I can't help but kind of connect a few dots right there and say, wait a minute now, Bret started off pretty shy here, but now it's kind of what's do you think the wrestling business kind of gave him that swagger a little bit?
Well, he even said it in his book that when he got on the plane, he wasn't Bret Hart anymore. He was the Hitman. And I think that the bigger he got, like, fame does that to you, Like, you lose touch with who you really are. There's, a few that are still down to earth, and it's, the promises they make, or whoever these, I think they stay true to those things. But I don't know, maybe there's always been something that I never recognized in him. I mean, we all have an ego, right? It all depends on how much you control it, I know personally that if I was like this really famous person, that I would be doing greater good with my fame, and I'd be talking about my kids all the time, and my kids are my life, and the temptation, I don't think I would be one of those sort of people that would succumb to temptation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like living in the fast lane, enjoying the money and the spoils. Yeah, yeah.
But it's almost like a contradiction, because we do start to experiment things together. Doing cocaine and all those things. But I never lost my sense of, I know where I came from. I could sit with the best of them, dressed up and have a conversation, and it's sort of like a chameleon, I could change in any social environment, but I always remembered where I came from, and I think that's really important for anyone starting out as a wrestler, as a musician. Just remember where you came from. You're not any better than anyone else. You have a gift, Just use your gift and whatever. But a lot of people don't think like that the way I do. At least that's what I would do.
Now, if you don't mind me asking, when you all had divorced, was that peaceful? Was it a mutual thing?
No, I was shocked. I knew it was coming. I knew something was coming. My daughter and I had flown to New York for her birthday. And it was a really odd weekend, because I was seeing divorce all, in the paper, or my daughter was talking about her friends' parents were getting divorced, and that had been the second family on our street. And I said, geez, must be something in the water. And then and I just had a really weird feeling in my stomach, like all the way back when I flew back to Calgary with her. And as soon as I walked in, he goes, can I talk to you? And I'm like, okay. And I just knew. So we go upstairs, and, he just said, Julie, I'm not going to mince words with you. I want a divorce. And I was like, I just remember my whole, okay. I just walked outside, just left. I drove in my car, sat in this parking lot, and I was like, oh, my God. It just really hit me, right? But I knew it was happening with us. We weren't getting along. Bret was having problems with, Montreal still, and going to WCW, and just, and there was a girl. He was already seeing a girl, so I'm sure it was one of those, are you going to leave her yet?
Okay.
So it was just a number of things. And, of course, myself, I take responsibility for the marriage coming to an end as well. Because I didn't want it anymore either, and neither did he. So, it just took one of us to have the courage to actually come out and say it.
And from that point, did you all work together, for the sake of the kids, to have it end smoothly?
Yeah, but there were things that we would fight about. Why is money always a factor? We fought about money, and I felt that as a woman, I felt like I gave everything. I gave the best years of my life, and I loved doing it. Don't get me wrong, I loved being a mom. But I wanted to go back to school, and I wanted to do all these things, or get a part-time job or something throughout our marriage. Like when I was starting to get really restless, it was like, God, what the hell's the matter with me? Nothing is making me happy, and I was eating and drinking and doing coke, and and I was just lost in this despair, and I would talk to him about it. I'd say, well, maybe if I went back to school, or no. He goes, it's bad enough I'm gone. One of us has to stay home. So I was like, oh, okay. And then he goes, hire a nanny. So we'd hire a nanny and stuff like that. But it was just such a sad, empty existence that I was living with. And I was bringing him down because he was way up. He was doing so well. And, and here you got this frumpy, unhappy wife because of her childhood and stuff, And then, so I started going to therapy to get me out of whatever was going on, because I couldn't figure it out anymore, Why am I so unhappy? Jeez. And, of course, you start fighting and ignoring, and I was really good at the silent treatment at the time. Yeah, so it was not good.
Nah, I can definitely feel where you're coming from, because I was married for about 5 years, and I wish I had that type of conversation that you had with Bret, because for me personally, me and my ex-wife, we had went to celebrate our anniversary at this really nice hotel, and I just so happened to have to unfortunately work that night, and I'm at work and I say, honey, I'm getting ready to get off work soon, you want a bite to eat? No, I won't be coming home tonight. I was like, oh, what are you doing? I'm going over to my mom's. I was like, well, we got the room for, a few days. Yeah. I left you a note. I'm like, a note? First thing I'm thinking, Dear John. I'm like, what's going on here? You wanna? And I just kept calling, and eventually she picked up, and I found out that way. And it's funny how it does come down to money, because unfortunately you hear about some celebrities, and we don't need to mention any names. I'm sure we can think of at least 5 off the break that have made headlines in the past 5 years and been like, ooh, that's an ugly divorce. I don't know why it comes down to money, honestly. I know luckily for me and her, it was just like, okay, look, I just want you the hell out of my life, and I want you to be happy, but I just want you the hell out of my life. You do the same for me, and we'll just call it a day, and we'll never know each other again, and that's pretty much how it's been. But I really don't know why it comes down to money sometimes. But I will say this, 20 years being married to somebody, you know, that does count for something. In my book, I don't care how you cross that. And, I mean, if you have goals, aspirations to, you know, want to do something, you know, for yourself, and you're kind of being told you can't do those things because you need to kind of stay at home, I would think that kind of hurts the progress of you trying to evolve and do better. So I commend you for, you know, kind of standing your ground there and saying, you know, hey, there's these other things that I would like to do.
Well, yeah, and sticking up for a woman in that situation, any woman, right? You don't have any... I hadn't worked since I was like 18 years old, because I moved here when I was just turning 20, because I had dated Bret for that whole year before I moved to Calgary. So I hadn't been in the workforce for so many years. I mean, I didn't even have a high school, like, diploma, you know, so here I am, like, I have nothing, and I've got 4 kids, and my kids are, you know, heartbroken, and I'm heartbroken, and so fear, you know, oh my God, what am I going to do, you know, like, oh, you're not going to just leave me in the dark. I mean, we had these dreams together, you know, and that we would never, you know, wouldn't end up like this, and all my dreams, you know, all these fears that I did have about getting married are coming true. And it just didn't seem fair, you know. It didn't seem fair in a lot of ways, but, you know, stuff happens. And, you know, so I did. When I got my settlement, I was finally in control, because even during the marriage, I never had any control. Like, Bret bought everything, you know, from the furniture to the carpets that we saw in India. That's a funny little story, but, you know, I just remember when we did a tour in India, the WWE tour, and I got to go. I remember this carpet guy, Persian carpet guy, showed up at the hotel and was going to take us to this shop and show us his carpets, and Bro was like, yeah, we need some for the house. So anyway, we go to the store with him, and he's rolling out all these Persian carpets, and this one is all hand done and purest of silk, cashmere, and whatever it was. And I remember he kept bringing them out, and Bret was like, no, I don't like that one, and never once asking me what I liked. Ooh. And it would start, that's how these fights would always start. I wouldn't say anything, because I was like the silent anger type of person, right? Like, my silence is your punishment kind of thing. So I remember he picked 2 of them, and then we went back to the hotel, and I wouldn't talk to him all night. He wanted me to come with him to the matches, and I said no. And he's like, why not? I said, I'm staying here. I said, I'm going to go do my own thing, you know. So for the first couple days, it was the silent treatment for him. And then it would start a fight, like, Jesus Christ, I bring you all this way, and, you know, what's the matter now? And then finally it was like a whoosh. Remember when we were in the carpet store and you didn't even ask me my opinion? What if I hated that color? I hate that peach color. Why would you get peach? Like, you know, now I'm acting like the bitchy wife, right? Like, you know, well, why didn't you say something? And I'm like, well, why didn't you ask me? You know, so little things like that. Like, when we went overseas, it was always what Bret wanted to do. You know, I mean, he was a fantastic voyager. Like, he loved going out and exploring and things like that. But if I wanted to see something, no, I don't want to do that. Why do you want to do that? That's stupid. You know what I mean?
Like when you wanted to go to the library to see that ancient book there.
Yeah, the folio, Shakespeare's folio.
Yeah.
It was like a huge thing to me. It was kind of like, well, you know, you dragged us off to see the Civil War stuff and, you know, the graveyard or whatever that was. We didn't want to go to that. You know?
and Shakespeare's up your alley, actually. So, you know, because
yeah,
saying you took classes, you were into Shakespeare. So it's like, that's a win-win combination right there. It makes sense to do that for you, but this is where communication comes in. I don't look at that, what you were saying, I don't look at that as being stuck up. I look at that as, hey, I'm in this relationship too, and there's some things that I want to do. And, you know, special shout-out to you young couples out there, especially you guys. You know how you guys are. I do it myself from time to time still. I think my mind's made up on something, and, you know, I get that. 3 days later, I get the silent treatment, and it's like, will you tell me what I did wrong?
Yeah.
You know,
I can't read your mind.
Yeah, you know, like just tell me what I did wrong, and it's like, you remember 4 days ago?
Yeah, remember what you did? No. Well, you're going to remember now.
Yeah, exactly.
So you did this and you did that, and then 3 weeks ago you did this, you know, like, oh my God, it's just like, what? I don't even remember that. Of course you wouldn't. You didn't care.
Yeah.
You know, it's communication, man. It's 50-50. Like,
50-50.
I know I'm not a big sports person, and Bret knew that. You know, he was like, okay, but just sit and watch the game with me. Oh, God, this stuff is so boring. You know, the typical sports, you know, wife did not like that kind of stuff. But he knew that, right? And it's okay because he had his buddies over and stuff, right? So I was kind of able to get out of it. But, you know, I'm not going to fake anything either. You know, I don't want to sit there and, oh, my God, I just love the way he threw that pass. Didn't you, honey? You know? And it was the same thing with wrestling. Like, believe it or not, I was never into it. You know, and that's probably why we worked so well. I never marked out on him. I wasn't like, oh, my God, when you did that body slam, I was like, oh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, and that was probably part of our problem, too, because I should have been the one that was stroking the ego. So he wasn't getting it at home. He had to get it from others, right? So I set that up. In my head, I think I did. But, you know, and then he got me back by not stroking my ego about Shakespeare. Touché.
I'm curious, did old feelings come back for you when, after the divorce was finalized and he had unfortunately suffered that stroke? Did feelings just kind of come back to you at one time? How did you end up hearing the news about his stroke and all?
Oh, well, I was the one that found him.
Really? I never knew that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Wow.
Yeah, no, Beans and I were the one that found him. He had called home. That's in the book there, but he had called to talk to my older son, and Beans and I were just coming in the house, and then he said, Mom, Dad's on the phone. He sounds drunk or something. So I'm like, oh, God, because we had just had a fight. He stood me up the night before because we were still kind of going back and forth. And we weren't divorced yet. And this was like 2003. Because we were going back and forth. Like, I think Bret's lawyer said that it was the longest divorce he ever handled. You know, you guys just can't make up your mind. Yeah, well, it's toxic in the end, so. But, yeah, so that whole story about Beans and I finding him is in the book. It's kind of sad too, so. And then around, I don't know, we really never, even when he divorced, we just didn't leave each other alone. You know, it was back and forth, and yeah.
And are you guys kind of how are you now? Are you guys pretty friendly? Best of friends?
None of the above. I try. We try, but we still, like, when we do, there are things that happen, you know, and when we do talk, I find that we're still kind of like it feels more like a brother and sister fighting now. Like, oh yeah, well, piss off then, you know, kind of thing. And then we don't talk to each other for like 4 or 5 months, and then just out of the blue, you know. And I'm sure after the book's out, he's not going to talk to me ever again. But that's his choice, you know.
Well, hey, you read what he had to say respectfully in his book, and you know, if he doesn't like, you know, hey, you know, but you have that right to, you know, freedom of speech there. So I mean, you can do whatever you want to do.
I know. I feel that press. You know, a couple of times I would do a couple of interviews, and I would always stay away from it. It's like, you know, yeah, gee, shit, that was news to me. I didn't even know that. Really? Thanks for telling me. You know, but, you know, yeah, no comment. You know, sort of thing. And I go, the only thing that bothered me about Bret's book was that he never explained why I was mad. You know, it was always like, she was always hanging up on me, and, you know, why was I hanging up on you? Why didn't you tell the whole story? Like, you know, maybe I was suspecting you of cheating on me, or maybe I was mad because you didn't show up at one of the kids' Christmas plays, or, for God's sakes, man, you know, you just made me look like a bitch, you know?
Right.
That's not fair.
Nah.
You know? So, and this isn't like a retaliation, because I don't, this book is written more like a tragic love story. People, you know, can take what they want out of it, but the way I wrote it was a tragedy, you know. I have no regrets about anything. I have dealt with everything over the years, and I'm happier where I am now. You know?
And that's good. That's a good thing to hear. And
yeah.
I definitely can't stress that enough with regards to the book, is that, yes, this book, you know, if you guys are looking for, well, let me tell you the truth about Bret, and you know,
yeah.
Bret likes men. You know, you're not gonna, you know,
yeah.
there's nothing sensationalizing, or, you know, you're not gonna find it. It's just a really good, honest perspective of what Julie went through growing up, to the relationships with her family, to the relationship that she had with Bret and his family. And I think the words you used eloquently puts the book at best overall. You know, you got a little bit of heartache, a little bit of tragedy, a little bit of dark comedy in there as well, you know. And it's definitely a good read. I can't stress it enough. And I'm glad to know that you're actually in a better place now, you know, because I know I had told you leading up to this show that, you know, I really had first came across you in that documentary, and I just couldn't help but say to myself at that point, you know, that's a strong-ass woman right there that he's got. He you know, he does his cards right. That's a woman, you know, he needs to be married to for a long time, because that's the type of woman that every man wants to marry. You won't be able to sit down and go, all right, here's my problem, this is what's going on, what do you think I should do? And I mean, you were really that force alongside him, making some very important decisions in his life. And I commend you for that, because most wives, they wouldn't even probably dipped into their husband's business affairs. They probably just would have been like, that's all you, I don't even want to, you know, that, just have fun with that.
Yeah, well, thank you for saying that. That's, you know, it's good to hear.
Yeah.
And I think that with everything that has happened, and, you know, the sadness, and I'm not bitter. I don't resent him. I'm happy that he's happy now, and we've gone our own ways, and, you know, our kids are well. You know, I'm in a much better place. You know, I think that if anything, now that this book is out, and it's not therapeutic, because it was therapeutic when I was writing it many years ago. You know, and looking at it and going, God, I can't believe that happened, and you know. And I went to therapy for many years too, and that helped me deal with a lot of things. You know, especially if there's no one to really talk to. I think therapy is a great thing, you know, help you put things in perspective and to empower yourself. But I think I've always been a survivor anyway. Even if I didn't have therapy, it's obvious I always picked myself up and, you know, somehow survived each bad thing that happened. There was some sort of strength in me to make me go, you know what, yeah, kicked again, but I'm getting up again, you know. I want to be that little bunny, Energizer bunny. You know, just keep on going. How the hell does she keep doing that? Oh, my God.
Let's see if we could get you a question or a comment real quick from one of our listeners before we let you go. And if you guys want to talk to Julia real quick, you're more than welcome to call in 646-478-3525. That's 646-478-3525. I want to show some love to one of our longtime listeners, Christian. And Christian, since I'm noticing you, buddy, you're actually going to be the one that's going to win the... Where's Christian? No, Christian. Well, Christian, he's having phone problems. Look like Christian got disconnected there. I'll buy him a little time to call back in. I'll put him on the line there. Christian's one of our longtime buddies, and we definitely want to hook him up with a copy of your new book. And I definitely, because we got a couple of copies we'd like to give away. I know we'll give away one on air, and then we'll give away another. We'll probably set it up on Twitter or something, maybe ask a trivia question, and, you know, first person or, 10th person to answer it correctly, they'll win the next book or something like that. Tammy, do you want to get in a question or comment real quick?
Well, certainly. I'm enjoying very much listening to your interview, Julie.
Thanks.
Really nice to have the insight into sort of the woman behind the man, and of course you, and as your own independent person now. My question is, how did you feel when you finally said, okay, this is the finished product, and then the book is done? Was it relief? Was it, what have I done? Or what was the feeling like when you were done with that?
Wow, lots of feelings, because it was like, okay, first thing I can do, I can burn all my journals now. I can have a big bonfire. I never have to look at them again. But my main concern from the very beginning of even thinking of publishing it was like, oh my God, what are my kids going to think? I struggled with that one a lot.
I can imagine.
Like, they think, like, you have an image of your mother and your father, right? And there's things that I'm talking in the book about that they have no idea about. Because I never, I'm not going to sit them down and say, well, kids, Mommy did this and Mommy did that, And then I realized that I had to do that. That I said, okay, well, there's things in there that you don't know about, and oh my God. So we got to talk,
Right.
So, and then, they were pretty cool. They were just like, well, Mom, it's your story, and, they didn't want me to trash their dad. And I said, well, why would I do that? I'm going to talk about us as a couple, not as the hitman. You know what I mean? Like, I experienced this life with your
not
dad.
The persona.
Yeah, like I experienced your life with your dad, and some of those experiences that we had were a little rocky and, things like that. I said, but, I won't trash him. I don't think I did. No, I didn't. But, yes. But,
right.
you know, they were my only concern, really. That was my only fear, is my kids reacting to, you know, and God only knows what will come out of it, like, on wrestling sites but they don't pay attention to that stuff, you know. They have their life here, and they just kind of do their own thing, and, you know, so.
And it's good that they don't get caught up on what the wrestling news sites are saying, because I got to be brutally honest, at least 90% of them, you know, they're following leads of hearsay, and it's very rare that you can get it 100% concrete. You know, I've always believed, you know, if you want the hard cold facts, you go straight to the source, and you know that's the bottom line to that. Yeah, you know, you
like
can't really.
The conspiracy documentary. They should have talked to us first. I definitely bring that up.
You know what? Yeah, because we were talking about this off air, but I definitely want you to go on record, since you know this is going to be featured tomorrow. Your stance on that. Go ahead.
Well, you know, I had talked to another friend about this, about the wrestling documentary. I forget what it's called now, but the conspiracy one. And my son Blake, and myself, we had seen this post on the internet, and we're like, what? Like, okay, obviously these guys have no idea. So I commented on it that, you know, you guys should have saved your money or something like that and came and talked to us first, because you don't know what it was like when that stuff happened to Bret in Montreal, what it was like living with him. You know, and same thing with Blade. Blade had said the same thing. You guys are full of shit. You know, it's what a bunch of nonsense, you know. So it is. You know, I wish they had really asked any of us that were living in our house at the time to think that was all set up. Like, no, it wasn't. God. You know, I mean, you know, Bret was a good worker, but, you know, but there's no way, there is no way.
I'll take what you and your family have to say about that respectfully than somebody like Earl Hebner, who is still going around and he's making a profit off of that, still, all these years later. You know, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go to him for the skinny.
Yeah, like it would that would have been the greatest work of Vince's of all time.
Yeah,
you know,
and Vince is
no
smart.
Way. Oh, yeah. He's smart, but he wouldn't.
Nah.
Vince wouldn't waste his time doing that. Like, Vince was making a business decision at the time, and that's all that it was. It was, you know, there was nothing else. Like, Vince does business with no emotion. That's why Vince is where he is today, you know. And a lot of business people, like, can you imagine if Vince was like, you know, Bret, I don't want to hurt you. you know, I really feel really bad. Like, no, bullshit. Vince did it because of business. And that was it.
Right.
You know. Yeah, they're all friends again, and making money again, and business is business, right?
Yeah.
So
I don't know. For me personally, it's just me. I've never really been vocal about this before, but for me personally, it's really weird seeing him back in the company in some capacity. It's like, man, you know, I understand you're trying to have everything come full circle and you're trying to let bygones be bygones. I would have settled for just a Hall of Fame and appreciation night and, you know, call it a day, but, you know, I don't know. Sometimes it just rubs me the wrong way. Sometimes it's kind of like one of those, who exactly is really benefiting from this the most? Is Bret really getting his justice, or is Vince stroking the ego here?
Okay, but see, can you imagine if this was all part of the conspiracy? Like 10 years ago or however, Montreal was like, okay, Bret, in 2012, you know, we're going to bring you back. And okay, can you wait for 10, 11 years? Because it's all going to come back. Don't worry, we're going to bring you back bigger, better than ever. Like, really? Can you imagine?
No.
You know,
that's one hell of a kayfabe.
But no kidding. Hey, we're going to be really mad at each other for, I'm not going to talk to you for 5 years, and I want you to work it. Like, really? Okay.
That is crazy. I see Christian's trying to. Let's see if we can get Christian one more time. One more time, Christian. This is it, buddy. Christian, come on, man. Say something, brother.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now, buddy.
Oh, all right, yeah. Yeah, what I have to say about that, Bret Hart, I think he has some, some skeletons in his closet, a monster. I mean, I know that there's no closure to it because, I seen some clips of Bret Hart, even attending to that SummerSlam in 2010, having him that last that brief counter of that 7-on-7 thing, and and I also seen Heart and Soul, and about that, and it kind of drives me like, I mean, to Bret Hart, I mean, like, he's one of the best, but something tells me that he's a good in ring. I mean, everyone has their differences. Everything. I mean, happens, but there has to be a closure and retro. Like
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying, Christian.
The thing about that, Christian, is like you, for many years, you're this mega superstar, right? And I think a lot of people can't walk away. That's my opinion. Like, they come back and it's like, there's always, wrestling is a mistress to every wrestler that's out there. She keeps luring them back, So I think, because, it's not about money or anything like that. I think they put so much into that business over the years. And I'm defending Bret because, he was one of the best.
Yeah, definitely.
And for his career to end the way that it did, that hurt him a lot.
Yeah. And
this is his way and Vince's way of going, you know what, this guy was so damn good, and we do owe him something. I don't know if that conversation happened, but that's what I would like to think, that Vince is kind of giving it back to him because he knows what the business meant to Bret.
Yeah.
And Bret's still popular.
Yeah, people. I know that that appreciation night they did a couple of weeks back, that was like one of the most watched things, and WWE did that off air, and there was like so many people downloading the app to check. Yeah, there's a lot of people that still care about the name itself, the Hart name.
Well, it's like royalty in Canada. Like, it's, Stu and the whole Hart family are like royalty up here. Everybody knows Stu. Even the young people know Stu. The up-and-coming guys, There's always talk in the locker room about the Harts and stuff, So it's, I don't know.
Are you still connected to the Hart family? You still in contact with them?
Oh God, yeah. I'm very good friends with all of them. I adore all of them. They have always been very kind to me over the years, and I never lost contact with them, at all. A couple of them I don't see, but yeah, there's no reason to. They were a big part of my life.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah, and and it's important because my kids are close with the nieces and the nephews and their cousins, and and I always kept my nose out of everybody's business. In a family that big, you kind of have to, you don't pick sides. It's like, I think it's important.
Christian buddy, I want you to stick around. Tammy's going to take you in the screening room right now and get your shipping info so we can send you that book. And you all are in there right now. And Julie, as we get ready to wrap this up, I definitely just want to take this time out to thank you for doing this today. And very insightful. I've had the pleasure of doing a lot of interviews past year and a half, but that definitely this one is truly insightful, and I can't stress this enough to our listeners. You want to make this be your business to go check out this new book that has come out called Hart Strings. You can get it right now at tightropebooks.com. It'll be available shortly. I believe you said July, with regards to Barnes & Noble and Amazon.com and other book outlets, correct?
It's I think the pre-orders are being shipped out now, and then I think it'll go in the bookstores. I'm pretty sure they said July. They'll start hitting the shelves. So, But I want to thank you for having me on your show. It's been fun, and.
I know we're definitely going to stay in contact, because I don't believe in just being a ghost, and we'll definitely still be in contact. I know we got the social media thing going on, so
yeah, we do.
All right. Well, hey, I thank you so much for doing this, and you enjoy the rest of the weekend. And like I always tell guests that come by here, you're more than welcome to come on back anytime, whether it's to promote or, you just want to get something off your chest, you're more than welcome to come on back.
Oh, well, thank you, Lee, and thank you, Tammy, too, for being so supportive.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It means a lot.
No. We appreciate everything, that you're doing, and I really, for me personally, it's just really freaking awesome to hear that despite everything that you've gone through, from your upbringings to now, I mean, who'd have thought that, with great perseverance, you'd be an author, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just badass. You go from,
I know,
continuing your education, and you write your own book, and that says something. That's powerful. I don't know if you really, but that's pretty powerful when you got a book that's out, and you can just look at it and you can just say, "God damn, I did that."
I know. Yeah, I know. I keep walking by it downstairs. I'm like, yeah, that's me on the cover.
Exactly.
But with a healthy ego.
There's nothing wrong with healthy ego. No.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. But,
well, all right, Julie. You enjoy the rest of the weekend, okay?
And you too, sir. Thank you for everything.
Oh, thank you.
Right.
All right, bye.
Okay, bye.
This has been the RCWR Show. Thanks for listening. An Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive.